In the last session, we were seeing about the network attacks. In that we have seen two attacks, that is DNS attack and the routing table poisoning attacks. In this session, we'll see packet mistreatments attack. So, how can the packets be mistreated by the unauthorized person? See, a packet mistreatment attack can occur during any data transmission. A hacker may capture certain data packet and mistreat them. See, if anybody gets the data, what they will do? First thing is they may change the content of the data, or they may change the header. In the header, what information will be their destination address, they may change, or they may delete some information, or they may just see the information whatever is passed, which will be useful for them. These are the possibilities of the packet mistreatment. So we'll see what are the attacks which is there in the packet mistreatment, and the one more thing is, if they are just going to see what is the information that has been passed between the source and the destination, it is very difficult to identify. Passive attack, this is passive attack. Active attack means they are going to change the content of the data, so that can be easily identified. But the passive attack, they are not going to change the content, they will simply listen what is happening, how many packets have been sent, what is the length of the packet, from whom to whom it is sent. These are called passive attacks, which is very difficult to detect. So packet mistreatment attacks again is further subdivided into link attacks and the router attacks, as we have seen in the router poisoning attack. Here, link attack, it has three possibilities in the link attack, that is interruption, modification, replication. As I said, or interruption. So interruption is nothing but if an attacker intercepts packets, they may not be allowed to propagate it to their destinations, resulting in a lower throughput of the network. They will not allow them to get into the destination. And the second is modification. As I said, they are going to change the content of the packet. Replication, yes, this is again another dangerous thing. The same packet will be kept by the attacker. Okay, in the future, what they will do, they will use the same packet, they will replay it, and they will get the beneficial things. See, the son is sending the message called, please send me $1,000 to the father. And what will happen, the unauthorized person will keep this packet. And after first time, he will the original message will be sent to the father, and he will transfer $1,000 to the son's account. Again the same, after hijacking the son's account, what the attacker is going to do is, they will use the same data packet stating that please send $1,000. So father will think that it is sent by the son, but it is the replayed packet which was sent already by the son to the father. So what he will do, he will again send the data, send the money, which will be taken by the attacker. This is called replay attack. So these are the three possible attacks in the link attack. Under link attack, that is interruption, modification, and replication. Next is router attack. So malicious misrouting of the packets. So a hacker may attack, as I said, attack a router and change its routing table entries, resulting in misrouting of data packets, causal of denial of service. If the router is overflowing, then it cannot service the authorized person. So what they can do is, they will stop the services to the authorized person. Then comes ping of death. An attacker may send a ping message which is large and therefore must fragment it for the transportation. So ping is nothing but checking whether the destination is alive or not. So by sending too large ping message, which will overflow the router, and the fragmentation, if the size is large, then it cannot process it. Obviously the router will be overloaded and it cannot do its service normally. The last attack is denial of service attack. What is denial? Denial is stopping the service to the authorized person by the unauthorized person. So, a denial of service attack is a type of security breach that prohibits a user from accessing normally provided service, as I said. The denial of the services does not result in information theft. It is not going to steal any information. But what happens, any kind of information, no data loss will be there, but it will waste our time, and the cost can be nonetheless be very dangerous, as it can cost the target problem a large amount of time and money. See, I have to send the project by 5 o'clock, which will, this is the deadline given to me. If somebody stops me to submit it on time, then it may cause any type of loss to me. This is nothing but denial of service attack. How they can stop my submission of the project at the proper deadline is, they can steal my data, they can steal my memory, they can overwhelm the router by sending so many packets so that it cannot route my packet to the destination, and they can even hack the DNS cache, that the to the destination whichever I have to send, it may be taken to some other website. So these are the different possibilities of denial of service attacks. Denial of service attack affects the destination rather than the packet or router. So it is not going to affect the data packet or the router. It will cause loss to the source and the destination. So denial of service attacks are of two types. The first one is single source. An attacker sends a large number of packets to a target system, overrun and disable it. As I said, the packets are designed such that their real sources cannot be identified. So from where it is coming will not be knowing. So the attacker will send so many packets and will overwhelm. It will overwhelm so that the router overflows. Okay. Next comes distributed. In this type of attack, a large number of hosts are used to flow unwanted traffic to the single target. Yes. So what they will do, they will send so many packets from the different host. In the first case, from the single host, the data will, so many packets will be sent, which will disturb the normal service. But in the distributed, it will take so many. The attacker will make use of so many hosts, so that every host will be sending so many packets, which will produce the traffic in the network, and which will stop the normal service to the authorized person by flooding the traffic in the network. Next is security methods. Again, we have seen security attacks. Now we are going to see security methods, which is very interesting. See, we have three security methods. So how we can secure the network? What are the methods we should follow? Is the first one is cryptography, authentication, and the third one is digital signature. What is cryptography? See, if at all data is sent from the source to the destination as such, see, this is my message. I'm going to Chennai. So if I'm sent the same text in the network, if the unauthorized person access it, he can read it readily, he can read it, and he may use it for his beneficiaries. Okay. So if I encrypt the data, so that, what is encryption? The process of converting the plain text to the ciphertext. What is ciphertext? Ununderstandable form, unintelligible form. If I convert the normal text to the unintelligible form, even though the authorized person gets the data packet, he cannot understand what is there. So that is nothing but cryptography. So sending the data in ununderstandable form in the network, through the network. Then comes authentication. How I will check whether the data received by me is from the authorized sender, and how the sender will ensure that the data sent by me to the receiver has been received by only the authorized receiver. And next comes digital signature. See, the data whichever is sent by me should be same. The same data should be received by the receiver without any modification. How we can ensure is with the help of the digital signature. So these are the three methods with which we can secure the data through the network. Cryptography. First one is cryptography. It is the process of transforming a piece of information or message shared by two parties into some sort of code, as I said. Two types of cryptography. Here it can be further subdivided into two things, that is symmetric key cryptography, and the other one is public key cryptography. What is symmetric key cryptography? The process of converting the plain text to the ciphertext with the only one key. and the reverse process also is done with the same key. Then it is symmetric key cryptography. Then public key cryptography is going to use two different keys to convert the plain text to the ciphertext. If the sender is using the private key to encrypt, then the receiver should use the public key to decrypt. This is what public key cryptography. In public key cryptography, two keys called private key and the public keys are used. In the symmetric key cryptography, only a single key called secret key is used, which is used for both the encryption